This is Drink Talk, where we try to solve the world's problems one drink at a time. Every other week in this podcast, we talk about the topics of today and tomorrow while highlighting and enjoying beer, spirits, and wine from around the world and also crafted locally. Join us. We are your hosts, Brian and Brett.
Cheers. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live podcast of Drink Talk. We are here at Casual Pint
Thanks,
with our
thanks for hosting.
main man Dave over here, and we got a newcomer here, Aaron.
Yes.
And
Good to
we'll,
be here. Very
and
good
we'll
to be
get
here.
to your history because you got a very assorted history.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. Yeah, sure.
There we go. Yes. Infamous?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
All right.
Yes.
Perfect. Yes, thank you again for hosting, David. We really appreciate this.
Glad to do it. A year ago
yeah.
we were in the studio, but
Yeah.
This time we brought it to the pint. I love it.
That's right. Yeah, and we're
Yeah.
going to be doing a sampling of Oktoberfest beers. We're going to be talking about what it means to be an Oktoberfest beer. We're going to be talking about the beers that we're currently drinking. And actually, why don't we start with that, David? Since you're the one that selected them.
Well, the three of us are drinking Crooked Staves Von Pils. It's a really good, easy drinking pills.
Crisp, clean.
Totally.
Yep.
And it's a collaboration with Casey. So Casey's out of Colorado, and we don't get any of their beers. More well known for their sours, wild stuff. But this is a fantastic one they do together. And Aaron's drinking Topple and Goliath Dorothy's.
Dorothy's lager, yep.
Ooh,
Good
there you
lager.
go.
Yep.
I thought yours looked a little darker.
A
Than
little
mine.
bit darker. Yeah.
It's all right though.
How's yours?
Mine is really good. Yeah, all the TG stuff, very solid. Just their lager is just one of those all-day drinkers, you know.
Oh, yeah. Porch Pounders.
That's right. Can't drink all day unless you start in the morning.
That's
so,
right.
yeah,
Well, and
exactly.
speaking of that, isn't there? It looks like you got a tap takeover right now of Toppling Goliath.
Yeah, in fact, all of September is Topple and Goliath month, so
Nice.
we kind of partnered with a brewery every month. This just happens to be Topple and Goliath, which is awesome. Morning Delight just came out recently from them. So
I had the Sun Reaper earlier when I first got here.
Sun Reaper's a new one from them.
It's a good one.
Super good.
Yeah.
super
First
good.
time coming into town, and we're going to just be tapping a ton of different stuff. Dragon Fandango will probably be one of the most popular
That is
ones
an
if I had to
awesome
guess.
name.
It was crazy last night pouring that beer. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
kettle sour, and I mean it is a beautiful beer when you look at it. It's just like a deep red. Super popular, and they don't
Very.
send it out of the brewery very often.
Nice.
So we're lucky to get it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Do you know if they're going to be doing Dolphin Sparkles again this year? Because
I
wasn't that
don't know.
in springtime or something like that?
Yeah,
I knew it was this year.
and
Sometime.
that was a collaboration brew as well. So they might not be doing that again. That was a Barrel Theory out of Minneapolis.
Nice.
Yeah, they got some good names though, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, right.
Well, they got to be unique because, I mean, everything else is taken, so they got to be
Right.
weird and unique.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, Dave, you've been on the podcast before. A year ago. I don't remember the exact date, but it was
I believe
roughly
it was sometime in September.
Excuse me, you don't remember the exact date?
not the exact date. I'm sorry. You did leave an impression that I remember
you, my
the
wife?
month. Yeah.
It was
but-
right when we got into our new studio.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
We had changed it up a little bit, and actually, you haven't seen the new actually, because
Awesome.
we turned the table and put the TV up and all that. But
I see you name things like I do.
Yeah.
The new.
the new. But you talked a little bit about Casual Pint and all that. But since we're here, why don't we just reiterate for those that haven't gone back a year or you know. You can
Absolutely.
go back and look at that video if you want, or the audio. But why don't you talk a little bit
After
about
the
Casual
show.
Pint? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, after the show. Watch this one now, then go back.
Well, one of my favorite subjects, obviously, Casual Pint. We've been open almost 3 years. Little craft beer bar in Countryside Village, so 87th and Pacific. Craft beer only, 30 taps, always changing. In
You
fact,
do have right.
We have the basics, I'd call
Yes,
it.
but
know.
you're known for the craft beer.
Yeah, craft beer, some cider, some wine, sour beers, a lot of those. But we rotate through a lot of beers. Becca just told me 2 days ago we had kicked 755 kegs this year. So that is a lot of different
That's
beer.
a lot, yeah.
We're always changing it, but we have the cooler over there as well, which
Yeah, I was just
I
going
don't
to
know if you
mention
can
it's
you can take a mix 6 home, which is kind of cool. You know, you don't have to commit to something. That's what I love about it. You can go
Yeah,
over there,
right.
grab one, try it. If you hate it, then you know not to buy the 6-pack.
Right.
But it's an easy way to try different stuff. Like I said, because it's always rotating. I mean, that's the name of the game. Aaron was a brewer for a long time. He can tell you. People want new stuff.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. What have you done for me lately? Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yes.
Because craft drinkers tend to not be brand loyal.
They're not
for
loyal.
the most part.
No.
They like to try new things.
They want
and
to
all
try
that.
an outlet
And,
for that.
and thank God for it. Thank God for it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
And don't tell the viewing audience when those drop dates are, because I like coming in and getting
Right,
them
yeah.
and having them readily available for me.
Well, or if you want to be in the know, we do have a Facebook page.
Oh,
that we
there you
throw our, our new arrivals on, and depending how limited it is, sometimes we'll sell them out same day.
Right.
Why don't you talk about the club too that you can belong to here?
Brewmaster Club. So, $20 a month. You join that. We give you a stainless steel growler right away. You get to fill it with a beer, and then you get to come back every month and refill.
Nice.
So it's kind of
And-
like your best present of the month.
Fridays are also the best day to refill those.
Half price fills on Fridays.
Yep.
We fill a lot of
Yeah.
growlers on Fridays.
I bet.
And then there's other rewards too, like every 10 pints you get a free pint, stuff like that. You get beer on your birthday, which we have a free app if you don't want to do the BMC.
Right.
So just download the free one on Casual Pint Rewards, and it tracks your spending, and you get free stuff.
Nice.
Yeah,
Very cool.
10% off.
it's easy.
10% off of your retail as well with the BMC.
True.
membership. Yep.
Yep.
So your retail.
Nice. And it is kind of for late on a Sunday. It is kind of hopping, but tomorrow is Labor Day, so
Yeah.
you're probably going to see a few more people rolling in here during this.
Normally we close
Hope
at
so.
8 on a Sunday. That's
Right.
kind of I call it a half day.
Yeah. Well, it was
But,
nice of you to stay open for it and put
Oh.
the post out there that you were
Yeah.
staying open, which is good.
Stayed open late. Yeah, if people aren't working tomorrow, they should be out drinking a beer somewhere with their friends and hanging out. So we decided
And why
we might
not
as well
here?
do it here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They got the football game on, so
Yep.
there's that.
Football's on.
Hopefully I don't have to blur that out. I don't know. No, it should be fine.
And for those of you
Far
that are
enough
wonder-
away.
yeah, for those of you that are wondering, Casual Pint is located in Countryside Village, 87th.
town in the city.
That's right, 87th and Pacific. So come on down. It's at the north building.
Correct.
You face
Off of
south, but
Pacific,
you're
yeah.
on the north building.
Correct.
Yeah, the plaza is going through quite the sort of revitalization as well. A lot of new fun stores in here. Great restaurant with timber, some new bars. So it's coming alive again. In
It's
my
hopping.
opinion. Yeah.
Nice.
It's hopping.
And if you got kids, actually, my kids, they the park behind here that's attached to the church, they call that 5-star park because it's the reviews on it are 5 stars, so they call
Really?
it 5-star park. So it's a great
Interesting.
gymnasium, jungle gym to go to bring kids.
Yeah.
FYI.
We got that too.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's just in our back door, yeah.
Yeah. Come here, get a growler, go over there.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know about drinking in the park.
Yeah. or at the Catholic school. Yeah.
Catholics, man, that's
true. Good
every
point.
function.
Fish
you know.
fries.
All you got to do is put it in a brown bag, right?
That's
And then
true.
you'll be
Yeah,
fine.
that's right. Yeah.
That's the bypass, right? That's the loophole.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Aaron, why don't you talk
Yeah.
about yourself a little bit about here? I know you probably love doing that, right? Talk about
Yeah,
yourself.
it's the best thing ever. Well, I've been a part of the Pint for almost 2 years now. I joined in December of 17. After I left Infusion in November of 17, I was the head brewer down there when we opened up in 2013. Started in the Benson location, a little 7-barrel system, and had a blast. Lots and lots of professional learning. Trying to break a lot of my homebrewing habits for 18 years, but grew a lot. It was a wonderful experience. Had a lot of fun, met a lot of great people. Loved the beer industry. And when I left Infusion, I immediately called Dave because drinking here is fun. The people are great. Dave and Becker are both fantastic people. And Dave said, yeah, absolutely. When can you start? So yeah, I left on a Thursday and I started working on a Saturday here. So it was pretty easy to do. Pretty easy transformation to come over to the Pint. And
Now, you were saying you had to break some habits of home brewing, from home brewing to big brewing.
you know, the homebrewing world was, relax, don't worry, have a homebrew type thing. You know, Charlie Papazian's famous line, and that's very true. But when you're going to professional brewing and you're trying to be consistent, there's a lot more number crunching. There's a lot more math that needs to go on. A little more science needs to be involved. And that was a big learning curve. I've never worked for another brewery before, so it was really, learning on the fly and teaching myself how to be more patient as a brewer.
Sure.
And definitely more consistent. That was the hardest part, was just trying to learn how to make things
Replicate
right.
the recipe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
When you put something out there and you got 15 kegs of it when we were brewing up in Benson, People expect the next 15 kegs to taste like the first 15 kegs. So that was a kind of a revelation of learning, adapting to new ideas. And obviously the great thing about the beer world is, in the brewing world, is all the brewers are fantastic. They're all very approachable. They're all very open with their questions and answers.
Love to share knowledge.
Absolutely. High tide raises all ships. So, the guys down at Brickway were great, and the guys at Lucky Bucket were great for us, and even some of the larger regional breweries, Odell's was really good to us, and Boulevard. It was wonderful to be able to rub shoulders with the guys that, they had it going right. And that rubbed off on me, and started being more consistent with our batches, and a little more water chemistry, and a little more hop learning, a little more grain learning, and stuff. So it was wonderful. It's brought me to the point in my life now where what I'm doing now. What I love about the industry, it's not stopping. Right. It's growing. It's constantly evolving.
Well, speaking of growing, we were actually out at the Infusion Brewing's facility off of Giles Street, and that was my first time ever to any Infusion Brewing company, and it's massive.
Yeah, that was an interesting step for us. But in Infusion was, we wanted to become a production brewery, and we wanted to put things in bottles and put things on retail, on shelves. And when the owner decided to go with a larger brewing facility, he and I, we were kind of joined forces a little bit tighter, and decided what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do it. So it was a great, it's a lot different brewing in a pub culture, like we did in a small 7-barrel brew house in Benson, to going to a production facility. And that was another huge learning curve for myself as a brewer. Now I'm trying to manage more people. I'm trying to manage production and schedules, and keeping sales up with new beers and seasonal beers. And it was extremely fun, challenging, but at the end of the day, it was like, man, we're brewing beer for a living. How bad can it be?
Right, yeah.
Let's be real here.
Exactly.
We had a lot of fun, and so I got to learn. Before I was brewing at Infusion, I was the manager at Beertopia. So I ran the retail side of things.
I didn't know you were at Beertopia.
Yeah, I was there for just about 4 years.
When was that?
Yeah. 2013, prior to 2009.
2009. Okay.
It's about 2013.
I wasn't probably shopping regularly there at that time.
I learned a lot. I came in just as a part-time, helper on the weekends, and loved it. That was.
Well, they definitely transformed it this past year.
Right.
Knocking down that wall and just making it big.
What they did is they followed in somebody else's footsteps. But no, that was excellent to be a home brewer, be a retail salesperson. I was buying beer, I was selling beer, helping them with all of the big events that the Beertopia put on. So I learned a lot about marketing and just selling beer. And then we decided to open up the brewery. And when Bill approached me in 2012, I was all for it. Every homebrewer's dream is to brew professionally, right? So,
right. Yeah.
That's so. We started working hard in early 2012 and opened up in 2013, and that's a few years back, but I remember it well, and I cherish those moments. But we're moving on.
We're here.
Yeah, we're here now. You bet. Yeah. So currently, I work for a company out of Lincoln, and I actually am a part of selling beer equipment now.
Oh, okay.
So I get my
still in the industry.
Still in the industry. Yeah. I started there in March of last year, and my job basically is to travel the country and help guys open up their breweries.
Nice.
So
very cool.
I've been East
Well, you
Coast.
know firsthand then. That's great.
Yeah, that was the great thing. That's why I really cherish the time that I had at Infusion. Was it taught me how to do what I'm currently doing.
Yeah. Well, you know what works and what doesn't,
right?
And how to improve that.
Yep. And these folks that are building breweries nowadays, they've got a lot of coin invested in this, and there's a lot of time and a lot of blood equity and blood equity.
Swequity.
There you go. Yeah. Blackwity. But it's very fun to be able to travel the country and see how different things are happening.
Right.
East Coast, West Coast, North, South.
Probably gives you some insight as to how the industry is moving.
Absolutely. Yeah. Especially the East Coast. It's going bananas out there. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it, trickles in a little bit in the Midwest, obviously. But, so I get to travel and ride on airplanes and go to new breweries every week. So.
And Speaking of traveling, and I think you just gave Becca the signal to bring the first beer, since we're going to be doing the Oktoberfest sampling. Now, you have something in your history traveling over to Germany. Why don't you talk about that, your time doing that?
Yeah, a few years ago, the owner and the other brewer and I were invited to come over to a brewery in Germany. The owner of Infusion had a buddy over there, and he runs a brewery, and Gerd is his name, Gerd Schoenbacher. Super nice guy. And we got to brew a traditional German Dunkel. And the beer is called Wilder Dunkel. And to see the difference in the equipment that we use, that we currently at Infusion use, and then what he uses from, he's the 6th generation brewer there.
Holy
Yeah,
cow.
so
you don't get that much in the United States. Like, we're not that old.
No, exactly. That's right. That's the history of it.
Yeah.
And his father was the one that put this brewery in. I think it was built in 1977, and he's still currently using it. And it was a wonderful, fantastic experience to learn and to see how the old schoolers do it. You know that nowadays with the equipment that we have available to us, it's all very modern. It's all very technical. It's all very computerized, computer generated.
Sure.
And over there, it was turn a couple knobs and turn a burner up and check a temperature, and you check levels with a stick that has liters on it, and it was just
Old school.
but super learning. I mean, it was very intense.
And they now, I'm assuming that not every brewery over there follows the Reinheitsgebot, but I'm sure that does every brewery have a beer that falls within that?
Sure. Now, you'd be surprised. Most of them do follow that rule.
Really?
Yeah, they
Wow.
do. And again, Gerd and I had a great conversation about that. The Reinheitsgebot puts a very old beer purity law, food purity law, 3 ingredients to start with, add addition to yeast a little bit later. To be a German brewer, they're pretty strict. We know Germans are pretty strict folk, and their beer is no exception. Probably the most important.
Right.
It's just a normal thing to have beer for breakfast, beer for lunch, beer for dinner, and it's not looked upon. It's looked upon a little differently than it is over here.
Right.
But the beer that we brewed was a traditional 5 malt, all malt, a little bit of hops, a little bit of yeast, and pure water, and that was as simple as it get. And that beer, I really, really wish that could get imported, but he's such a small brewery that he really keeps everything very regional. And you'd be surprised when you go to Germany, different areas, the Helles area and the Dunkel area and Pils area and Kolsch and the Dortmunders and whatnot. It's all very, very regional over there. And Germany's not a very big country. But you can go 10 miles north or south, east or west, and they're drinking a completely different style of beer.
It kind of reminds me of Scotch over in Scotland.
Sure,
It's very
absolutely.
regional over there.
Very, 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 very similar.
Speaking of brewing beer, Spencer is watching us, and he says we need to brew Spaceballs IPA again.
You know what? We can do something like that. Yes.
There was also a comment on your mustache. It's fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Well,
That,
thanks for
that was
noticing.
that was Chad.
Eat a lot of bacon and emu meat sticks, stuff like that.
And something that I guess we didn't mention before. Now you are technically the sexiest place to work for, workplace,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Sexiest
yeah.
workplace.
2 years in a row, by the way.
But yes,
but yeah, don't let it
It's
get
in
to your
that
head
far
there.
back corner back there,
right.
Yeah,
behind Aaron. So
which is super cool. I was just telling somebody at the bar earlier because the mustache gets a lot of ask. What's the mustache all about? And
speaking of that, we'll zoom right
we,
into that.
we basically raised about $45,000 this year.
That's
for
awesome.
10 of us here at the Pint.
That's awesome.
crazy.
Just 10 guys at the Pint. I mean, we had to hustle.
I'm sure.
Did a ton of work. You name it, we did it. We did a cornhole tournament here. We, auctioned off some beers out of our cellars. We did a bunch of things with the Pint. Cross-Train brewed a special beer called Magnum P.I. Elsner.
It was
That's
great.
awesome.
It was a
very
great
good
beer.
beer.
That was a great beer.
Speaking of that, in the shot we've got 2 guys with cross-train shirts on.
Right on.
Shirts on.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that's a little product placement going on there.
Oh,
You,
think
you
they-
probably get a lot of brewers that actually
Those
drink here.
might be former
We do.
employees.
Yeah.
Might be.
Yeah.
We do, which is kind of how I got to know Aaron. I mean,
Yep.
it was a little bit through the Pint, a little bit through another business called Omaha Brew Bus, where we tour the local breweries.
Yeah, why don't we talk about that while we're waiting for the drinks to come? Why don't you
Yeah.
talk about the brew bus? How's
Yeah,
that going?
Brew Bus is going great. We
it's
just
awesome.
kind of run it on the weekends for people that are coming into town. And, I did a bachelorette party yesterday.
Woo!
My ears are still ringing.
Oh,
all the singing. But
So
yeah.
what specifically is it? I mean, and how many? Do you just have the one bus still? And
One bus, yep, and we just hit local breweries, so it's always a different sort of mix. But yesterday we went to Cross Drain, we went to Brickway, we went to Lucky Bucket.
nice.
You spend about 45 minutes there, you hang out. We always do one tour. So a couple of times when we came to Infusion, Aaron would be the one who would give us the tour,
Right.
and that's kind of how I got to know Aaron.
Absolutely.
But the bus is fun. It's a safe ride around town. A knowledgeable person is driving you to tell you about all the breweries. We do all the legwork of setting it up, and you just go in and have a good time. Drink beer.
What was the competition that you guys were doing? And then I hopped in the bus and we went over to Iowa and went to
Oh yeah, we went over to Barley's.
Barley's.
over in
That's it.
CB.
What was that
That's a
competition?
cool place. I really like that place.
Yeah, he's got it going on for craft beer over in CB.
Yeah.
He's
I was
leading the
super
way.
impressed the two different sides, and then the upstairs they got the party room up there.
Yeah.
And man, it's
Was that
wow.
Bell's?
No, that was Sierra Nevada.
Sierra Nevada.
It was
That's
a battle for the border. It was to see who could sell the most Sierra Nevada product.
And who won
Which,
that?
we took that trophy home, but they were dealing with the number one Sierra Nevada brewery, number one
Distributor.
in
Drink.
Nebraska. So we sell the most draft beer of Sierra Nevada in Nebraska. Yeah.
Wow.
Bravo.
Congratulations.
And Bell's, by the way. We're also
cool.
Bell's number one. So, we're doing a few things right here, and we're having fun while we're doing it. I mean, that's what Aaron said. It's beer.
Right, yeah.
I mean, it's a blast. You just get to sit here, talk beer, drink beer, hang out.
People walk in with a smile, they walk out with a bigger smile.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the idea. That's the
Exactly.
idea, yeah.
Speaking of Sierra Nevada, something that you kind of touched on that gets often overlooked. I think it's an underappreciated art form of the beer making process is actually keeping it the same. That
Absolutely.
recipe, masking or replicating that recipe.
Yep.
It's a very underappreciated art form. In Sierra Nevada, I had a buddy that went through the beer judge certification program. They use a lot of Sierra Nevada,
Yes.
because I think their quality control is
Absolutely.
top notch for craft
Top-notch.
beer.
Yes.
Well, that's something you always hear about, too. There's a brewery getting ready to open up out in Elkhorn, Juke's Ale Works.
Yeah, I can't. I'm excited for that.
You know, great home brewers. I mean,
you know
their
when that's
stuff
gonna
is
open up?
incredible. A couple weeks. I mean, I don't think
wow,
they've
it's
set
that
the
close.
final date yet, but it's close. Yeah, 2-3 weeks.
Well, and they just opened the Zipline Tap Room on 204th and F on Friday,
Yep.
right down the street, kind of between Gretna and Elkhorn there. So
Yep.
I'm excited.
But you always hear, how are they going to do once they have to ramp it up? Home brewing's one thing, right? You can,
As
sorry.
you can
You can
as
get
you
it
can
right.
attest to.
Absolutely.
But yeah, you gotta do it every day. It's got to be the exact same, and there's
We had-
quality stuff.
We had a chance to talk with the for Nebraska Brewing Company, and that they got their start doing the Cardinal, and so she tells the story about how they did that, and basically they got angry and threw all the hops in there, and then it turned out fantastic. So then they had to go back and try and figure out how to replicate that recipe.
Thank you.
Holy cow! These are really cool little. Is this your normal one, or are these made specially for tonight?
No, those are normal.
Oh, hold on, Aaron.
Oh.
This is made especially for tonight.
Oh yeah.
But now we'll have them permanently from here on out.
Exactly.
We do not know what this is.
I
I
like the
believe
tiered
Becca's the
system.
only one that knows what this is.
Did you get a good shot of that, Britt?
Oh yeah, I can.
So I got to give a shout out to my brother and his father-in-law, Stan. They're the one who made these for us. So we wanted something that was different, that was kind of unique. So we got a 4-flight holder and we got a 6-flight holder.
This thing is awesome.
Yeah. So, guys, we're going to be drinking some Oktoberfest beers. I have no idea what's in here.
Right.
Becca is the key master.
Uh-huh.
She's the one who poured all these.
You guys don't have any telepathy thing going on between married couples, right? So you sound,
I don't want my wife to read my mind. That's not necessary.
No one should read your mind.
Right,
Yeah.
that's very true.
it's a dark thing. Once
I
you
love-
go in there, you can never make it out.
I love the reference of Ghostbusters, the Keymaster.
Yeah.
Keymaster.
You the kiss?
Yeah.
It's like
right.
no, slams the door.
Yeah.
Who
So-
brought the dog?
So we're gonna, she's got it all wrote down, so she's gonna give us some cards after we're done. But
Perfect.
basically, we're just gonna sip on these and,
All right. Okay.
see
So
what
we
you
should
think, and-
all probably start at the same place. And
Yeah,
end
start
at
at the
same-
top, over,
left. Yeah.
then down,
Left to right?
Because it does look like it goes from lighter to darker.
it kind of does.
I agree with
yeah,
that.
totally.
Yeah.
So
Very
that's the woman's touch right there. I mean, it's all
Coordinated.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. This is accessorized in itself.
Right, yes.
All right.
Let's
Perfect.
take a little sip here. See what
Yeah.
we got.
Well, cheers, gentlemen.
Yes. Cheers.
Thanks for having
Cheers,
us on.
everybody.
Prost.
That's real, yeah.
I'm going to avoid hitting the table because
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably a
More
good idea.
Yeah.
It's probably a good idea.
That's very light. You can taste the maltiness in there, but that's very crisp, clean.
it is not heavy at all. It's
No, very easy drinkability, smooth.
Hops on the background for me.
Yep.
Well, we were talking
Dry.
about
Dry mouthfeel.
Yeah, it finishes dry.
Yep.
But we didn't really talk too much about the style of Oktoberfest.
Yes. What
Right.
technical? So there's the there's probably two versions. There's
Correct.
the technical of what it actually means to be an Oktoberfest beer.
Right.
And then there's now everybody is making that style.
Correct.
So why don't you explain both and then the differences? Thank you very much.
The beer Oktoberfest was a creation from a wedding in Germany back in 1810, and
King
Ludwig.
Yes,
Yes,
Ludwig.
yes. Ludwig, yes, and then
Married a princess.
not Ludwig.
Not Ludwig, right?
Ludwig.
Not like the drum. It's similar to the drum, but Ludwig. It was a marriage to Teresa, I believe, of
Yes.
Saxon, I believe.
Because they still call it the Teresa Weiss or Teresa Weiss. That's what they call Oktoberfest there.
There,
Also.
okay.
It's like a nickname.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. That's new to me. All right.
Today I learned.
Check. Yeah, check. But the style is, it's typically, there's another term for it called a Märzen, M-A-R-Z-E-N.
With the umlauts.
Umlaut, yeah.
Yep.
And basically what that means is the beer is produced in March, and then it's meant to lager over the summer, and then released in the fall time around Oktoberfest.
In Munich.
Correct. Around Munich, correct.
In the city limits, which is probably ever expanding.
It is. There are, I believe, 7 breweries that are in the city limits that make a true Oktoberfest.
And if you've been to any German American societies in your hometown, you've probably seen
Yep.
a couple of them represented.
Absolutely, yeah. Spaten's a big one. Polaner. There's several really good ones. Hackershore, but the style is an atypical amber lager, where there's a little bit. To me, there's always a little bit more hop content in an Oktoberfest on my palate, which I like. They're between 5% and 6% alcohol. Like I said, they're going to be an amber beer.
Now, I was reading a little bit about that, and is it true that the true Oktoberfest is like 2% more than what the average beers were at the time when they started making these?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm trying to pull back my history in my head with all this useless knowledge. I know that some of the breweries were producing a 7% beer or so, but they're always served in liters, and they just keep coming. So hell, you don't know what they are after the
Gasoline and
after,
alcohol
a couple of
served in
beers,
liters. Over there.
But over the course of time, the beers have evolved a little bit. Some American styles are a little different than the German styles.
Speaking of that,
Yeah.
I think this is an American style
I would have-
Oktoberfest.
I would
This
have
is
to-
brewed somewhere here in the States.
Quite
Okay.
light.
Almost like I wouldn't go as far as, who would I say? Sierra Nevada? No, it's too light for Sierra Nevada. But it's somewhere here in the States.
which, by the way, their beer this year, they always partner with a brewery out of
Yep.
Germany. So this year was Bitburger.
Oh, it was
really?
Bitburger. Okay.
is who they partnered with.
Yeah,
for
they
their
did
beer.
Weinstefan last year, correct?
Yep.
Yep. That was a great beer too.
It was very good.
Yep.
Do you remember all the names of the breweries? I was trying to memorize those, but I.
Oh yeah, I'll pull them out of my head here. I got a little notebook.
Well,
here.
we got some of their glasses.
Yeah.
I've seen you got some of the Oktoberfest glassware around. So
Well, you got to have Hacker in there.
What's the one in the
Polymer.
bathroom? It's like Skylar, but not Skylar. There's a poster I was staring at earlier.
Weinstefaner.
That's not Munich though.
That's not Munich.
There's,
See how many you can do.
6 or 7. Yeah, right. This is terrible. Where's Alex Trebek when I need him?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
You get 100 points for each one that you do,
There you go.
and the points are meaningless.
Where's my phone? I gotta cheat.
Yeah.
Whose line is it anyway?
Yeah.
It's just
Well,
points are
we
meaningless.
don't like looking things up on the program, but the people
Right.
that we do have several people that are watching.
Sure.
So if you do, if you want to do some research for us and throw them up on the
Sure.
feed, we are monitoring the feed.
Yeah.
And I do want to say, hey, Zach, shout out. It says he's jealous come on up here and have some beer.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
So, are
we're
these
here.
Oktoberfest beers available right now for anybody?
Yep.
Perfect. There you go.
They're all in house right now.
They're all in-house, and yeah, I mean, believe it or not, we were getting offered from our distributors to buy Oktoberfest in late July.
Right.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Like they
Get
they
in
had
now.
landed,
The price is right.
They had landed. They're here. They're ready to drink, and I said, I'm going to hang on till at least a week or two.
Now that's a big thing for me. Like, so it's called Oktoberfest. I get it, but why is it released in September? I would assume that it should
Well,
call
because
it
it goes from September to the first
So
week in
it's 2
October.
months. 2 months of brewing,
Yeah.
essentially.
It's like 17 days, isn't
It's,
it? Something like
yeah, it's 17 days. It kind of depends on where it falls on the calendar.
Yeah.
But it's the last weekend in October was when the wedding was.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a pre-celebration to the wedding.
that. Right.
Gotcha.
Yep.
And it's done every year.
They used to have like horse races was a big part of it.
Huge.
They got done. I think 1960 was when they stopped doing that.
Well,
but
the-
it is like the largest fair of any
Correct.
In the world.
world, yeah.
And they have like 6 million people. They serve. I think last year they served 7.3 million liters, which will fill 2.5 Olympic-sized pools.
Yep.
Which is what is it? Let's say 1.7 million gallons or something like that for us Americans.
1.21.
Yeah, 1.21.
And the festival over there it's Dave and I have not been there. I'm a little reluctant to go. I'm not a big crowd person, but
It's on my bucket list to
it
do
is,
Oktoberfest
it is.
in Germany.
Yeah.
I'm going to move on to the next one.
Sure.
I'm going to keep some because I want to go back to these, but I'm going to.
Cheers,
too.
John. Just a little shout out from a fellow friend of mine.
And
very
hey,
cool.
Brad, thanks for joining us.
Hey, so
Right on.
by the way, speaking of Oktoberfest, so fest beers, slightly different category, right? I
right.
mean,
Yeah, back in actually fairly recently, 1990.
Sure, so
Yeah, definitely.
We'll
They
just do the air
changed.
cheers.
There you go.
Oh, this one's light too.
They did change the style and do what they call a fest beer, and it's going to be more of a golden lager with a lot of flavor still.
Kinda-
Just a little bit less heavy,
Kind of like
if
this
you
one.
will.
This
Is it?
one. This
Yeah.
one. This one.
that's
The
what I was
first
gonna
one's
say.
kind of a
I bet
golden.
this is a fest beer,
Yeah.
if I had to guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I'm going to be as bold as Britt and say that it was brewed here in the States, but
This is
that's what you're
the
feeling.
second one is
what, the
like,
first one?
yeah.
You don't think that was brewed here in the States?
He's not willing to say
I'm
that.
not willing to say that.
I'm
yeah.
not slamming the gavel and saying that this
right.
just happened. We're, that's what the beauty of a blind tasting is. I mean,
Right?
Right.
It'll surprise you.
This to me kind of tastes like a lucky bucket.
On
Oh,
this,
like their pre-prohibition lager.
this one's a lot more dry. I don't get as much of the malt as the first one.
This one has a different aroma for me as well.
Yeah, we should be
Cleansing
Cleansing
palate.
the palate.
Palatizing cleanse. Yeah,
It's a little more caramely and sweet, though, to me.
I would agree with
This
that.
tastes like, yeah, I like that one.
I'm going to
Too
start
long.
just guessing on every single one of them.
Sure.
before you go on to the next one.
Throwing
Yeah.
Hail Marys.
That's right.
I've got nothing. I have nothing to go back to.
Right.
He's bound to
we
win
can,
once.
We can still remedy that, Britt. I mean, we can put more beer in that if
Right.
we needed to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
None of us have to work early tomorrow too hard, so I think we'll be okay.
No,
you
I
know.
took a whole week off.
Oh, very nice.
I'm going to rent a dumpster and throw my house away.
Oh, nice.
Literally,
inside
it's
out.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Goodbye.
Tell my wife I'll cut my head off and grab a new body under it for you, honey. Type of thing. I do like the second one a lot. That's a solid beer.
Yeah.
This is a
very
little
solid.
sweeter.
Second one's
Yeah.
better.
I agree with your assessment on that one. It's a little sweeter. Both are very light for an Oktoberfest.
They're very clear, and,
Yeah.
and with the purpose of that, the clarity of these beers is going to be the lagering process. With it being laid down, lagering means to lay down in German, and these beers are produced in about 14 days, typically around a fermentation time of 14 days, around anywhere between 48 and 56 degrees, roughly, give or take. And the true German styles. Like where I was over in Germany when I was there, it was a natural carbonation process, whereas the beer was actually shipped down to the lagering tanks before fermentation was completed. Therefore, when those beers got shipped down to downstairs in the lagering room, the beer was not quite finished fermenting, so he closed everything up, and the natural carbonation happened in the beer, and it just tends to, for me, leaves a little softer carbonation feel. It's not, carbonation's acidic, so you got the carbonic acid. So the natural carbonation from the yeast is just made a softer yet very palatable beer. So I don't think a lot of breweries are doing that now, just because they can move into a tank, get it carbonated, get it in a bottle, get it in a keg, and ship it across the pond. But the true tradition of lagering is to let the beer naturally carbonate in the lagering tanks for months. And just again makes a little bit different flavor of a beer.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. They do it
But
that way.
when you got to make that product.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, when you're spotting and you're eyeing and you're pollinator, you're producing. I mean, their job is to produce, make beer in quantity.
So it makes the money.
Exactly.
Right. I'm going to move on, but when we, because I just want to hit all of them.
Right,
you
for
know.
sure.
But after we talk about this third one, why don't we talk about the difference between the traditional Oktoberfest beer, what that means, and then the Oktoberfest style.
Okay.
So
All right. Sounds good.
Similar, but
Right.
So this third one is again lighter, crisp, clean.
Gentlemen, cheers.
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 Ooh,
That's
wow.
that's my jam right there.
Yeah, that is smooth sailing for Oktoberfest.
That's really, really good.
Yeah, this
Now
to
that's
me.
that's a German.
I was gonna say this is
Yeah.
more of what I would picture going to a Oktoberfest festival,
Oh.
and yeah, this is
That's
definitely
really
the beer.
good.
Yeah, yeah, you can you get that. I don't know what that flavor is on the back, but it's there for
Yeah,
Oktoberfest.
it's distinct.
Yeah,
Yep.
Well, there's a breadier toastiness to it.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's a good way to describe
a
it.
slight carameliness, maybe.
That's what I was going to say.
Caramel
caramelly.
bread,
A little bit,
caramel
caramel
bread.
bread, yep,
There we go.
That is delightful.
That
Yes,
is
it is.
really good.
That's the best one so far.
Yep.
For me.
We're ramping it up. We're really doing it.
It is,
Right.
but it's for me. The flavor is there, but it's still light in color comparatively. Like these on the bottom
Sure.
look traditionally the color that
Sure.
I'm used to. But yeah, that has the flavor of what. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
The brewing process, the German brewing process, is quite unique. A lot of these old school, if you will, breweries, over in Germany, they do a decoction mash, which is a lot different than what we do. I shouldn't say what a lot of Americans do with a single infusion or a step mash, and they actually take part of that regimen and they send it over to their kettle and they boil it. And so you got some caramelization and some Maillard reaction that's going on, and then you'll pump it back over to the main mash and you'll raise the temperature, and you may do that three different times. So the brewing process for many German beers with decoction brewing is very labor intensive. It's 10, 12, 14 hours a day to brew one batch of beer.
So you're saying the brewers in Germany work harder than the brewers here?
I'm not going to say that. No, I'll plead the fifth on that one. But it's a different regimen, and over here, in America, we want things and we want it now, and there's just kind of a common thing that we've kind of learned to live with and grown up with. Over in Germany, things are a little bit more patient. There's if they run out of beer, they run out of beer, and obviously the big production
Kind
breweries
of like
over there don't
kind of
wanna
like
do it.
barbecue. We
Exactly.
only
When it's
produce
gone,
it-
it's gone.
Yeah,
Right. Wait till tomorrow. We'll have more tomorrow.
yeah. We're in 14 days.
Yeah, right. But the decoction process is, for me, a wonderful. A lot of American brewers want to do it, and then the company that I work for, we actually set up some breweries that can do decoction brewing. But again, it's very labor intensive, and if you can get a beer done between 4 and 6 hours, and instead of 12 to 14 hours, what are most people going to choose? I mean, but decoction brewing is very old, and when malts were very under-modified, you need to get all the starches and all the carbs out of it, you had to boil things. And you send them back over, and that raises different temperatures, and at different temperatures, different sugars are produced, the dextrins and all kinds of fun scientific stuff. So with decoction brewing, it's traditional. It's very traditional, and there's a lot of breweries that like to do decoction brewing currently, even with the malts that we are currently have access to, and they're very well modified malts, but they want to keep things old school.
Right.
And that's I'm
As close to the
yeah, absolutely.
possible.
I appreciate that very much in brewers that want to go through that long brew day for a true defining German style of beer, whether it be Oktoberfest or Helles or Hefeweizen or whatnot.
Now you're a brewer yourself.
Correct.
Have you ever made an Oktoberfest?
Yes.
Well, there you go. You can say us.
correct.
Earlier you
Well,
corrected yourself.
you're
you
right.
can say us. You've made it.
Now the equipment that I was privy to, we were unable to do decoction, but what we decided to do, and I actually talked to Gerd, the gentleman over in Germany, how can I do this without being able to boil my mash? He requested. So we would dough in at 122 degrees, and we would raise that temperature up to 136 degrees and rest for certain times. And there's certain malts that are available to every brewery. Melanoid malts, which melanoid is one of the flavors that we're tasting in here. That's very malty, very chewy, very doughy. The melanoid malt actually can kind of mimic the decoction process. And so when we brewed an infusion, we brewed the Infusion Fest, and it was a step mash with a lot of melanoid malts to get that doughy chewiness into it.
I actually had that last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, that was a fun beer to. We wanted to produce something that was as traditional as we could do. And again, talking to Gerd and him giving me some ideas on what malts to use. And then obviously specific German hops and specific German yeast. And I was very, very happy with the outcome when I was there. Now, I don't know if things have changed, but when I was there, I was very, very happy with the production. So
Nice, yeah. Well, I liked it. It was really good.
Well, thank you.
So, yeah.
Well, thank them, I guess. That was solid.
Dude,
absolutely
yeah, it was like solid.
Yeah.
Going to the next one. Well, these were good in their own right.
For sure.
But different.
For
you
sure.
know, this one definitely had the flavor profile that I was looking for.
I wouldn't turn anything down.
Right.
No,
Somebody handed me one
not
of those.
yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
So this next one is actually, this bottom row is a lot darker. It's more of a caramel color.
Correct.
Versus the golden of the top row. Cheers.
Oh, cheers. Excuse me. Sorry.
Prost.
Prost.
That's another good one. There's
Oh yeah, that's good.
Oh, yeah.
it's a little less flavor in that one.
It is.
It's kind of
subdued.
peanut buttery-ish.
It's a
Okay.
It's a subdued.
I can see that a little nutty.
Peanut butter. Yeah,
Kind of a nutty.
nutty.
Okay.
I get that too. Yeah. It is.
Okay.
Yep. A subdued flavor profile, but nutty.
It's good though.
Yep.
Oh, it's
You
solid.
can
a
taste
nice beer.
you can taste the darker, richer color in it, which is odd to say, but you can.
Melanoidins.
We do have a question from the audience, actually.
Oh, excellent, yeah.
So Murmur's musing. Hey, actually, he's moved out of Nebraska. So
Really?
yeah.
Who's this?
Well,
A fellow that used to come up here a lot.
yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Hey, Murmur, thank you for posting the question. How many different styles of beer can be considered an Oktoberfest beer? And he listed Marzen, Hefeweizen, Bock, Doppelbock, and Helles.
Good question. Well, the BJCP, you mentioned Beer Judge Certification Program. The American way to judge beer, if you will. Märzen and Oktoberfest, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, are in the same category, but just different lot numbers. So like 22A or 22B. Märzen is a beer that, if you're gonna put a title to it, can be brewed year round. Can be your amber lager. You can call it a Märzen. If you brew something that's called Oktoberfest, it's got to have the K in it, and it's got to be produced within this time. But the Hefeweizen, the Bock, the other styles they were mentioning.
Those are just German styles.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Not a typical to an Oktoberfest, but they're German styles.
Yep.
For
The
sure.
and you mentioned Dunkel also.
You have Dunkels and Helles and Pils and Kolsch and alt beers.
Dunkel,
and all that.
I like saying that.
Dunkelis, yes, Dunkelis.
Well, hopefully that answered your question, Murmur. If you're still with us, let us know.
Vienna Lager, the same
Vienna
kinda
Lager
family.
So, yes, Vienna Lager and Märzen are pretty much synonymous. And most people may not know, but Vienna Lager is Negro Modelo.
Yeah.
Perfect beer for that example of Vienna style lager.
Yingling.
Yingling is, I would.
Oh man, I haven't had a Yingling in years.
Oh,
This
I
is
wish
what a
I'd have known
great
that.
beer.
I got a 20-pack at home.
That's
so
a great beer.
It's all right. We got time. Go ahead.
I can run home. Yeah, absolutely. It's just a
Kate,
quick,
where you at?
Just a quick plug on that. Yingling is a regional brewery,
Yeah.
and we don't get it here in Nebraska. Most of the West doesn't get it. It really kind of falls up into the Ohio area. But they are still the largest craft producer in the United States.
Don't they get it up
Number
in
one.
Minnesota? They get it.
I don't.
No, it's east of the Mississippi.
Is it
I
really?
want to say Ohio or Indiana. I think is the
Illinois.
way.
I was going to say I got some in Chicago. Before.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
I'm heading there next month. So
There you go. Get yourself a Yingling.
It's gonna buy. I think it's a 20-pack or a 30-pack. I don't know what it is, but it's probably gonna cost you $20.
kind of like PBR,
natty.
You know what? Yeah, it is, and it's and two.
but not the flavor of PBR. It's not.
No, it's
that.
not, and it's
Yeah.
and it's really it's one of those beers where It's a really good beer, but it's nothing that we're ready to be used to. You know, we're not the big pastry stouts and the New England IPAs. It's a straight, simple lager, and I think a lot of brewers and beer people really appreciate a good lager.
Sure.
You know, it's something that's solid. That's the Dorothy's that we drank, the Von Pills that we drank. You know, we
Especially if you're trying to convert a friend of yours that always drinks Bud Light.
sure, you're
Sure.
a bush latte drinker, absolutely. You know,
Bush
and
latte.
it's
Nice.
It's just, you know, you can the idea for me, and Dave and I have talked a lot about this. The idea for me as a home brewer, a retailer, a brewer, a bartender is I don't want to change people. I just want to show them that there's other opportunities out there.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's over 7,000 breweries in America now.
Holy
you can't
cow.
shake a stick and not hit a brewery.
Right. If you say you don't like beer, you just haven't had
Try something different.
Right. You know, and that's what I ask people when they walk into this bar is, you know, you've walked in here for a reason. You know, you're not. If you expect a Bud Light, we're not going to have that available to you, but we will get you in that path.
You do have Coors though in the
water jug.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the water
So
jug.
it's a perfect time to bring up Thursdays is dice night. You can
Oh, yeah.
come in and you can roll the dice, $2 off your beer on dice night, and you might try something that you've never had before,
Never
and
clue.
you might start liking that.
I do like how
Good
you put
point.
that last year where you said, you roll the dice, you get $2 off a beer. If you don't want that one, you can roll it again, get $1 off. Still don't want that one, you can roll it and you can pay full price.
You can pay full price. Yes.
Well, it is a great way to get outside the comfort zone a little bit.
Try
You
something
know?
Absolutely.
And-
And
Same with the mystery.
Same with the mystery beer. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a cool thing that those of you that have not been to the Pint, they have one on tap. You have 30 taps, and then 30.
First,
Well, 31 now with the
31
mystery.
with the mystery,
Right,
yeah.
right.
So the mystery beer, and you actually when do you announce what that beer is?
Well, it's still kind of a work in progress.
isn't it kind of
but
when it blows?
Yeah, when it's gone, we'll write it on the board. This
Yep.
is what the mystery beer was, and
And you get a full pint for less cost of a normal pint.
And so right now the three guesses are Chef's Shells
Yep.
half, Brickway half, and NBC half. So it must
apparently
be
it's a Hefeweizen, yeah.
or
I don't
something to that
know.
nature.
you know, if we finish these off, we still
Yeah,
got a
we
few
could-
minutes.
To Facebook and actually
We
say
asked
what
them
it
to,
is.
yes.
Yeah.
That way they let him know what's
Go put
going
your
on.
guess on Facebook because
Yeah.
other people want to know what it is
Yeah.
or what you think it is, and yeah, that's kind of fun. But
We got to kind of keep it down low when I tell people it's the right beer. Just keep it to yourself. You know,
Right.
I'm not giving away 17
So
pints
so you do
tonight,
tell
know.
like if they guess
I
correct.
will. If that's correct, I will tell them
Yeah.
that their guess is correct. Yeah.
yep,
Nice
I
job.
didn't know if that was against the rules or like you wanted to keep it secret as possible.
You know, the customers that come in here are uber.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not gonna. You know.
well, you got to be adventurous. Number one,
Yes.
you got to love beer because we get a lot of questions. Somebody will never fail. Somebody will say, "Is it dark?
Right.
Is it hoppy?
Right.
Is it?" I'm not telling you anything. That's the point.
Yeah.
Okay.
If
It's a
because-
mystery beer.
Get
You
out of your
gotta-
comfort zone.
And
Come
no samples. You
No
got to get a full
samples.
pour.
Yeah.
You get the 16 ounces
Yep.
for $4. That's the best
Come
deal
on,
in town,
yeah.
baby. It's
Exactly.
the best deal in town.
It's
Normally-
employee
Dave-
pricing right
and
there.
Dave's not going to put a bad beer on tap. He's not.
no.
There's no way he's going to put.
beers on tap that would surprise people, you know, because we're all about kind of the new, the fun, the what
Sure.
just came out,
Sure.
the rare.
One of the most interesting, awesome beers that I ever had was here, and it was when you had the English, the true English beer, and I can't remember what it was, but it was a very
Maybe-
limited release, and it was fantastic.
Okay.
So I wish I could have.
That
I
wasn't
probably
a,
checked it into
wasn't a Sam
Untapped.
Smith's.
I was going to say
Was it a
Sam
Sam
Smith's,
Smith's?
but
Yeah,
I don't know.
it was a true English beer.
Because the Nut Brown was on for a while.
Yeah.
That's a great beer.
They just started kegging that.
Really
Yep, That's a
good.
great beer.
Yep.
Yeah.
And interesting. I mean, like
Yes.
it's something you don't normally find.
Right.
It's really
But
cool.
Under
back
act.
to what I was saying,
Yeah.
you know, I kind of purposely have picked in the past a few breweries that, you know, in my opinion, they kind of get the snub because
True.
it's Goose Island or it's you know, some of these bigger breweries, Sam Adams, that people say, oh, I've had
Goose
that.
Island
I've-
actually makes a decent beer. I mean,
Oh, for sure.
you know, that's
gonna
not
put
that
them
doesn't
under
get
the
me
bus.
excited as a craft drinker. But,
Sure.
you
Somebody
know,
did post on here that they hope that we do a Sam Adams Oktoberfest. So, maybe it's one of these. We'll
Might
see.
be.
We'll see.
Might
Could be.
could be.
So, and speaking of, why
I'm
don't we
moving
move
on.
on? Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to say moving on to the next one.
Cheers,
gents.
gentlemen.
Prost.
Oh, I like this color.
Yep.
All right.
That one's more traditional too. Yep.
Yeah.
Caramel.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Malty.
Dry. Bready.
Yep.
Bready, definitely.
See, it's
Ready.
hard, it's hard for me to get the hops out of these. I know earlier you said,
Right.
I get the hops, but
I got it earlier on, not with these. But I'm getting more of the malt, and the malt is probably canceling out any of the hops flavor.
Yeah, there's the balance. I mean,
Yeah.
you gotta have some balance there. And these beers typically are balanced towards the sweet side, and on purpose.
Yeah.
Again, the first one I got the hops in the background. These last few, just about very balanced beer, but tending to lean towards the sweet side, for sure. Okay, I like that one a lot too.
Yep.
That one's really good.
Yep. So far, God, it's a toss-up between this one and this
And
one.
3, right,
Yeah.
for sure.
this is what makes the blind tasting fun. I mean, you gotta just evaluate it on what you're tasting, smelling, the color, and do you like it?
Exactly. There's no right or wrong.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's what you like.
Yeah, if Brian and Britt like something and Dave and I don't, there's nothing wrong with that.
Unless you
Totally.
like Bud Light, and then
Listen, this is my motto, and I stick to this very traditionally. I'll never turn a beer down. I may not ask for a second one.
right.
So I'll be cordial and have a beer, but it may not want a second one.
And honestly, I do tell a story for those that say, oh, really, you're slamming the cheap beers and all that. The most surprised that I've ever been in drinking a beer was a PBR on tap. And I slammed it before I even had it. And I said, you know what? And I had a buddy. He's like, have you ever had one? I said, you're right. I shouldn't be talking negatively about it, how flavorful a PBR was. I was
On
thinking
draft.
it was just on tap. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was on draft.
Yeah.
And so I was very pleasantly surprised.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That one gets a lot of love though from beer guys, as well as
It's got
I
a
feel
cult
like Miller
following.
High Life.
High life, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. High
So
life, big
lots
time.
of
So I
love.
lived
Yeah.
in Montana. I lived in Big Sky, Montana,
Sure.
which it was an hour outside of any big city, and then it was another half an hour to get to the top of this mountain. Essentially, you could get a 24-pack of PBR for like $18.
Sure.
And I'm like, no way! Like they had to like just give this ski pass, and was like, if you bring up the beer, we'll make it cheap. We'll make it a good deal for everyone. Sure. Because I'm like, I'm on a mountainside drinking PBR for $18 for a 24
Well,
pack.
it's-
It's cheaper than the water that was there. The water was amazing though. By the way,
Oh, I can imagine.
It was just you pull, like, it was like a dorm community kind of setup,
Yeah.
and you would just fill up your Gatorade bottle or whatever your analogy bottle right at the sink in the bathroom. And it was just like
That good.
the best water
Sure,
in the entire
sure.
world.
That-
Good,
you
you probably
right,
could.
absolutely,
It was amazing. It was right off the mountainside.
Right back to the trout stream and just dip it right in. Let's go. Absolutely.
It was so good. But yeah, the PBR, I have a higher standing for them now that I.
Like Dave said,
did that.
there's a cult following. There's a lot of people that drink that religiously, and that's
Yeah.
that. Again, good for them. That's what they like. So,
Sure.
it's a tough beer for me the next day, but a little hangover action.
Yeah,
and
a little headache
a
action.
little headache
going on.
action, but overall, I can see why people drink it.
Yeah.
No right, no wrong, like you said earlier.
Totally agree with that.
Now, with this setup that we're doing right here, unfortunately, the people that come in here probably are not going to be able to do this sort of flight because a lot of these aren't going to be on tap.
Correct.
True.
But you are going to start getting Oktoberfest on tap, and they could do kind of like a smaller version of this if they wanted to.
Absolutely. And like we were talking earlier about the singles cooler, go over and grab one. If you want to pick up a 6-pack or a 12-pack Oktoberfest to take to a party, you should try it first. So, that's what you do. Go pop one, and we always have a couple on tap.
Yes,
too.
definitely. To me, is you grab a bottle and you split it 3 ways, and you got a little sampler for you and your 2 other buddies, and you can test it out. So
There's another question from the audience.
Create your
here.
own sampler.
there you go. There you go.
Another question from the audience: are there any beers you guys don't like? So I would for me, I'm just breaking into the sour category, and in the sour category, I've had really really good sours, and I've had stomach bile.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I would say, but that's also of the beers. I mean, that's a difficult one to get into.
It is.
because it's such a
Well, it's
punchy
such
in
a
the
new
face.
category
Like
as
it's
well.
it's a punchy in the
Well,
face flavor profile.
Let me back up a little bit. That category is quite old.
Really?
Yes. So your Belgians, your traditional Belgian sours.
Maybe just new to me then. Fair
Correct. In the retail side, sours were when I was at the other place selling beer. I probably had a dozen or so sours on tap or on in bottles, that sat and sat and sat and sat. No one would want them. And then the sour thing started really evolving, and people understood what the beer was about. A lot of people drink a sour and go, that's bad beer. There's something wrong with it. And I was guilty of that.
Like
as well.
wine, when wine goes
right,
bad.
Right. But when they became popular, the lambics and the creeks and all the fruited ones, we couldn't keep them on the store shelves. Mm-hmm. And Dave carries quite a few fantastic sours in the store.
Yep.
And they do sit a little bit. Well, I'll be honest with you. People, it's kind of a love-hate relationship with sours.
Right.
Either you love them or you hate them. There are some that are pretty good. There are some that are really sour. Some are full-bodied. It just kind of depends on what you want to drink. But the style, I don't mean to be mean, but the style's been around for a very long time. And I kind of going back to some of those Belgian breweries where Cantillon, for instance, they could produce a lot more beer if they moved. But that's wild yeast. And you talked about wild yeast earlier.
Right, yeah. Well, actually, I think we might have talked about that. Did we talk about that on the podcast, or was it before? Honestly,
I don't know. That could have been pre. I think
it was pre.
It might have been pre. But the wild yeast, the flora, the environment, and Cantillon is in kind of a rough area. You don't really go to Cantillon in the evening. Let's just put it that way.
Sure.
But they won't move because then their profile would change, and then people would be like, nope, they just sold out, blah blah blah. So they're true to their nature. They've been doing it for hundreds and hundreds of years, and people expect that sourness from this brewery for a reason, and then you pay a pretty penny for them over here.
There are some sours that I call Chardonnay beers. It tastes just like a Chardonnay beer.
Yeah, sure.
I mean,
there are some that are very vinegary. There are some that are very red wine.
And there are some that are stomach bile.
There are some that are yeah, that's true. These stinky feet or underarms.
What's the one that's the big bottle on the top above the IPAs? The big space one.
That's
a Jester King.
Jester King. I bought one of those. A little pricey, but it was a little bit of a sour, and I was actually pleasantly surprised at how good it was.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're new to the Nebraska market, and they're definitely, that's what they're known for, is their wild stuff and usually sour.
Right.
It's hard to maintain quality control with the wild yeast, I would think.
Yeah, it can be. There's a lot of getting off subject from the Oktoberfest, but there's a lot of blending that goes on. So there's many breweries that produce a beer for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and New Belgium is notoriously good for this. They'll blend their stages of beers, and they say I need 20% of this and 30% of this and 50% of this, and they blend them to try and keep consistency. But I think people also understand that there's going to be some inconsistency.
Right.
They know that up front.
Which is, I'm assuming that these breweries would do batch numbers. Like this is
absolutely
or a year or year.
Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah.
If you pulled some of the bottles off the shelf right now, I think you'd see the expiration dates of 10, 15 years on some of them.
That's the crazy thing about the sour beers, the lambics and all that. I mean, just the you can actually have a beer cellar and keep them for years, plural.
Yes.
Not months, years.
Well, if you look at it from a scientific standpoint, they're acidic.
Yeah.
I mean, they last forever. I mean, acid is...
Right. And they actually mellow out, from what I've heard.
Some can, yeah. Some can...
I haven't kept a beer around long enough.
Alcohol does not last long.
There's a couple of really good regulars that come in here that have a cellar that they have shipped beer specifically over from Belgium just to have in their own cellar.
Some of the bottles are right there.
Exactly.
Oh, nice.
Cantillon.
And he'll come in and he'll share everything. It's really great when he comes in on his birthday because he brings out his stash of. And most of these beers you look on the shelves, they're probably already 3 years old.
Wow.
So at least 3 years old. So.
And that's a growing thing. People had wine cellars, but now people are doing beer cellars.
Absolutely.
It's a growing popularity.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. And I got a question last night from a customer said, "How do you age beer?" I said, "Well, I don't know if there's really a perfect answer for that.
You probably want to keep it at a pretty consistent temperature.
Well, I tell
out
them,
of the light.
Keep it dark. Keep it in a box. Keep it in the fridge. Keep your fridge around 50. And some beers don't age. They just don't age.
Yeah.
They're not meant to age. Hoppy beers in particular." You want to drink them as fresh as possible. So when you buy IPAs,
which is weird because that was the
dates.
whole point of the IPA was to keep it for long journeys.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. And that's a fun read. There's a couple of books about IPAs where I think the stories that we're all familiar with are actually made
Slightly.
up.
I'm sure,
A little
yeah.
wives' tale action going on.
What?
Yeah, right.
No,
I know, right?
no.
BS, I say.
No.
Yes.
No.
It's still a fun story, whatever.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a great story. But aging beer is something that, if you have a little bit of a pocketbook, you're going to need some because some of these beers are going to cost you a pretty penny to get, and you don't want to drink them right away. And it'll even tell you on the bottle, maybe hold on to me for 18 months or whatever. And one thing for me is Sierra Nevada Bigfoot. We talked about Sierra Nevada. Sierra Nevada Bigfoot is a fantastic beer fresh. It's phenomenal. Sit on it for 5 years. Trust me. It's fantastic. I've got bottles.
The flavor profile probably changes.
Totally
though,
changes.
yeah.
Totally changes. The hops kind of fall down. The barley wine comes forward. I've got bottles at home that are from 2008.
Wow.
And they're and so maybe do another podcast and I'll bring all my vintage beers in.
That'd be great.
That was
We've actually had requests.
I would love to try that.
sure.
We've
I
had
have no
requests to do like crap beers, like a podcast on just like the bottom shelf beers. But I think that would be an interesting
No, we-
one as
I-
well
we-
to do.
I
Yeah, I see.
Speaking of beers, we
Are
should
you-
move on to the
yeah.
next one.
Bring the train back on the tracks.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Thank you,
Pull it
David.
back around.
Yeah,
no, this one's
Toot,
even
toot.
darker.
yeah. This is the darkest of the group.
That's like pumpernickel color.
Oh, that's like number 3 up top here. That is just smooth, sailing. It's the way it should be.
I'm glad I saved
It's
a little
light.
bit of each beer so I can go back and
Me too.
reevaluate.
I know,
for it.
I kind of messed up on the first one.
Yep.
Well, you got a little excited.
I did. I
Right.
was just all like, come on,
Is
I
this a
need beer
shooter?
right now. Let's go.
These are shots of beer.
Well,
Now-
these are little 5-ounce pours is what we
Right.
got here.
And to kind of add on to this too is that the fun part about a flight is you can drink it the first time, and I often tell people go and try a drink now, try a sip of it, and then let that beer sit. Because oftentimes the beer that
Open
warms
up,
up,
but yeah.
opens up. It changes the profile completely. Cold beer is really good because it's really cold.
Right.
We like
It actually mutes the flavor.
absolutely cold water, room temperature water, lukewarm water, totally different flavor.
Yep.
Beer is no different. Some beers are much better at really a cellar temperature, 50, 52, 54. There's a lot of stouts that I drink that I don't even put them in the fridge. I just pour them out of the bottle sitting on my shelf.
Oh, wow. Room temperature.
Absolutely, because it just brings out a lot of flavor. Like you said, hot food, cold food, it's difficult to taste. You eat it and you drink it, but it's difficult to taste. That's why bottom shelf beers, warm, are probably not very good.
Right. Yeah.
they're,
I think what they meant by bottom shelf was just like the crap cheap beers.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Bud Lights, the Coors Lights,
the natties.
Yeah, the Natty Ice, yeah, Busch.
Yeah.
But I heard Natty came out with like a lemonade beer.
It's
and
Brit.
I heard
It's
good.
really good.
I heard that it's good.
Is that the Natter Days?
Yes.
Yeah, no,
I want to hate it as a craft geek, but it's really it's perfect golf course beer.
Alex-
Let's
It's
put
a
it that way.
porch
Yeah.
sitter beer.
You're right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a porch pounder. Yeah,
Alex was actually telling us about that, and he said he really enjoys those.
it's
Yeah, keep that quiet.
Somebody
yeah,
was
right. Yeah,
somebody
keep it
was
under the radar. Right.
Somebody was
exactly.
posting about it on Nebraska Brew Crew.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, I know I'm not supposed to love this, but
It's
I
a
do.
guilty pleasure.
It is
yeah.
exactly. That's a perfect name for it.
Yeah,
Dave.
guilty
That's-
pleasure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I like Stiegel. I like
Sure.
yeah,
The Radlers.
I love the
Absolutely.
Radlers.
Absolutely.
Granted, they're only like a 3.2 kind of beer, but they are fantastic being out in the sun in.
Yeah. Radlers. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, speaking when we were talking earlier about some of the sour stuff,
Yeah.
and how old they are, new they are, Goza, right? I mean,
Yeah, German Goza, absolutely. At a Leipzig. Yeah,
since
absolutely.
we're talking about German stuff, like, been around a little while.
Yeah, their fermentation process is fun. They use instead of using a traditional, they use a yeast and then they add another, it's a bacteria basically. They call it a bug. In American terms, they call it a bug, and a lot of breweries don't want bugs because they grow and they might take over your rest of your brewery. But there's certain breweries over in Germany that's what they produce. All their beer profiles are
Bug beers.
bug beers, right? Buggy beers, right? Now, not
Interesting.
flies in your
Sounds
beer
good.
type thing,
No.
not yeah.
Yeah, it's
But,
got a bacteria strain or something.
Exactly, it's a bacterial strain that just adds a little more acidity to it. And the Goza, which is a very, to me, was an underrated style for a very long time, and it kind of became a very popular production. Goza with and the idea of coriander and a little bit of salt added to this beer, so it made it dry, yet it had this fantastic spicy finish to it. And there's a lot of breweries now producing Gozas, and not goose, but Goza. A little different, 2 different countries, but for example, Boiler Brewing Company. Tim does a lot of different variations on a Goza style, where it's margarita or it's strawberry or it's mango, and it's always has this type of salty, sour profile to it that's fantastic. And and thick. It's
Pulpy.
molasses. Yeah.
Pulpy.
Yeah.
And I've had friends ask me to want to get into the sour category. Would you recommend starting with the Goza before the sours?
For me personally, there's a beer called Duchess de Zeebrugge, and I don't know if Dave has any right now.
We used to,
But it's a Flanders red, so it's about
You don't
this
have
color.
every beer in here memorized. Dave?
There's a lot of SKUs. But for me, if you want to get into a real, quote unquote, traditional Belgian style sour, just ask for a Duchess. It's a little bit vinous, like a wine. There's
Like
not
a
much.
Chardonnay?
Yes,
Like,
right. Like or more of a red, if you will, more of a. But Duchess is one of those beers that some of the normal or the geeky sour drinkers don't, like, kind of shun their nose at it. But to me, it's still a great beer. It's still a wonderful beer, no doubt about it. And there's sometimes we probably could have it on draft. It does come on draft, but it's a traditional Belgian beer that I would definitely suggest people try is Duchess.
Nice.
Absolutely.
We never made it around the table earlier, by the way, when we were talking about are there beers you guys don't like?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
right. We stopped right there with
it's
you.
me, yeah.
Damn
yeah.
it, Brian.
My opinion is the only one that matters right now.
Because I was going to say, I like hoppy stuff. I mean, that's my favorite.
I think that's a big category right now.
But some of the double and triple IPAs, I just don't like.
They're hard to
I,
drink.
I saw a triple in there, and I was like, I've never had a triple, so I would like to at least try it.
I mean, what you would think, like, okay, we're going to have triple the hops, we're going to have, triple the flavor, or whatever,
Right.
but they just
I had that earlier. It's all right.
they just tend to be so much more malty and,
Yeah.
I don't know, they're higher ABV, obviously, so you can't
Yeah.
have as much.
Well,
What do you mean?
There's pros and cons to that, though. There's pros and cons to that. 'Cause
Right.
sometimes I do like going home and just having 2 beers and, having it feel good,
Right.
rather than having 5 beers and going, oh, okay, now I feel good.
And I'm full. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. I gotta go
there's
to the
little-
bathroom 4 times.
Yeah, there's a
yeah.
little pros and cons to it.
Yeah, so I would say, which is probably an unpopular opinion, but double and triple IPAs for me are kind of my no-goes.
I don't know that I would. So I've had a lot of doubles, and I wouldn't go there with. There have been some that are a little booze heavy on the
Little
doubles.
hot, little hot,
yeah. But other than that, I would say I've not met a double yet, but I've not been in the triple category.
Which
So-
I don't even think technically it's category, right? It's just imperial once you get above
Correct.
IPA. but-
Right.
Yeah.
Now I gotta add to that story though, Dave.
Okay.
Founders, which is my favorite. People ask me what my favorite beer is, and we get asked that a lot. What's our
They're
favorite beer?
Ruthless Rye.
That's Sierra Nevada.
Sierra Nevada.
But
You're
that
right.
is
Yes, you're right.
delicious.
Yes.
Well, they do
you're right.
Red's Rye. Founders does.
Founders does Red's Rye, which is also delicious. But Founders does a beer called Devil Dancer, and it's a triple IPA. And talking about aging beers, don't age your hoppy beers. Well, I happened to buy a 4-pack of this beer years ago, and I drank 2, and I just kind of put the other 2 away, thinking I'll drink them later.
Yeah.
It was 5 years old, and I'm like, that's an IPA. It's got to be bad, right? Cracked the beer, top 3 beer I've ever had.
Wow.
Top 3. It was
wow.
like, sit down. Oh my gosh, this is fantastic. And it was a triple IPA. And
Okay.
I'm thinking, don't age your IPAs. Don't do this. And it was one of those things that sat in a box, and I was actually moving from home to home, and I'm going through all my beers, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I
What's
going to do
this?
with this beer? It's a $24 4-pack. I'm like, well, I can't throw it away. So I chilled it and poured it, and I'm like, wow, I was amazed, absolutely amazed. Hops had fallen
Now,
off. The beer
was it
come
in
through.
a can?
Nope.
No
It was
light.
bottle.
Really?
Bottle. Yep. Just sat in a box.
So what you're telling me is you stored it properly.
I got lucky, I think.
Got
Yeah,
lucky,
I got
you started
lucky.
properly.
Yeah, exactly.
He stored it so good he couldn't even find it.
That's
Right,
right.
exactly.
Yeah. For a long time.
That's my golden chest, right? Yeah, exactly.
I will. For actually, if the more I think about like the beer category that I don't like, I am just not a fan of the jalapeno beers. I like spicy food, but when it comes to beer, I'm not a fan of spicy beer. And I like
find
flavor.
it awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do like heat in my food though. Like I like,
Yeah.
I'm a big sushi eater, and I like a little kick
Sure.
to it to let you know it's there.
Sure.
But for some reason, I just can't. It just doesn't work for me on what I drink.
You like
Really?
pepper beers? You like?
I do.
Yeah, like Devil's Gap. Devil's Gap from Gator.
Devil's Gap's a good one.
Yeah.
Cross Train makes 2 excellent ones. Like they're
And maybe I just haven't had one that I've
It could be.
met that it was good.
It could
you
be.
know.
so they make their Hellas, which is a fantastic,
It is.
just easy drinker. But
Yeah.
they do a Hot as Hellas. The Hot as Hellas is one of the spiciest beers I've ever
Is
drank.
it like a jalapeno, or is it more of a ghost pepper beer?
I don't know what pepper they use. We could probably tap on the shoulders of those guys.
Yeah, these guys will probably know over
But
here. Yeah.
it was so hot, like where you get that in the throat.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
Sure.
then you're like, I gotta down this with something
I gotta-
else, and then the throat burns, and then you keep downing it.
Right.
It's a never-ending cycle of pain.
Sure. Yeah.
But they make a Saturday morning heat,
Well, and that's
Which is
it's
like
a
a
growing
blended
category
one,
too.
which
Like
is much lighter and really, it was perfect.
Yeah, the vegetable beer is
vegetable. That's a good one. That's a good
vegetable
way to-
beers.
Yeah.
They've been around a long time. They've been on the BJCP guideline for a long time, and you'll see a lot of Belgians produce vegetable beers, or a lot of them are what's the word I'm looking for? Spices.
Yeah.
Fantôme, which is a fantastic brewery out of Belgium. They do a lot of weird stuff, and saisons in particular are fun because the term saison means season. So they'll put whatever is in season in their beer, whether it be dandelions or sage or paprika or whatever. They just add it to their beers, and completely opposite from the Reinheitsgebot, which is the purity law. The Belgians are like, it's available.
Whatever
We're going to
goes.
throw it in the beer. Absolutely. So.
There's some good stouts that have jalapenos
Oh,
in them.
man.
Prairie Bomb, one
yeah.
of the best imperial stouts you're going to find.
This Mexican, the Belching Beaver Mexican peanut butter is outstanding. It's so good, and I'm not a pepper beer fan, but the Prairie Bomb and this Belching Beaver is.
I'm a big pepper spirits.
Okay.
So we actually went to Maine last year on a road trip, and I went to Maine Craft Distilleries. And super cool folks. The guy that he's like a farmer, and he handmade a lot of the stuff that's in there. Super cool people, very knowledgeable. Love sharing that knowledge. But they had a carrot spirit on tap. You were talking like, and I tried it, and I'm like, yeah, that's carrots. And I'm like, I appreciate that you did this. What do you do with that?
Right.
So they made me a drink, and it was actually they like put some jalapeno liqueur in there and the carrot spirit, and then they put this red sugar on there. I'm not sure what was. I mean, it did have a different flavor than just normal sugar on there. But I tell you what, the sweetness of that plus the spice and the carrot, it worked.
It's about balance.
Yeah, exactly. So now, other than that, I don't know what you do with it, but it was
Right.
interesting that they made.
Can I have a carrot shot, please?
Yeah.
Carrot and Coke.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you're telling your wife that you're
good
on
for your
a
eyes.
strictly vegetable diet,
Right.
then-
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, could be a vegan and still drink it. It's good.
Right.
Yep.
I think we need to get back to these.
Yes, we need to get back to
swing
these.
back to the Oktoberfest.
That's all right. So, David, let's do before we get into the traditionals
Yep.
and what you think is the traditional beer of the mix. Do you have a favorite yet?
I do. Yeah. Number 3 is my favorite.
Yep, I'm right on
I'm
board
gonna
with
I'm
you.
gonna go back to that
And
one.
it's got to be a German. I mean, I would put the house on it. German.
Yep. So mine is 3 or 6. Actually, I like the
You like 6?
I like 6 too, but 3 is definitely flavor forward.
Yeah, it's all about the flavor too. I mean, as you go through them, I don't know that I would have picked that out. If I was just drinking a pint of number 1,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have hated it.
Right.
But when you 2 sips later
The
drink
progression.
something that's like, wow, that's flavorful.
That punches you in the face,
yeah.
and it's good. A good punch in the face.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which to me states because like American beers, there's other than like the sour categories, but like there's not a lot of punch you in the face flavor. They're a little subdued, and now they're getting into the milk categories, and they're even subduing them even more. But yeah, this to me says traditional.
Totally.
Traditional.
Yep.
Do you have a favorite, Brit? Is it
Yeah,
number 3 is your-
mine's number 3 as well. I went back through and I actually drank all of them except for the one I drank all of. And
Apparently, you like that one though.
Anybody remember the favorite from last year, by the way?
Brickway was mine.
yeah. Mine,
I think the consensus was Brickway,
That's
right?
good
Yeah.
beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I hit the nail on the coffin. The one that was actually a German beer I remember hitting the nail on the coffin on that one. I'm like, this is not from around here.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were going through the favorites. We weren't going to do the traditionals yet. We were doing the favorite, and the consensus so far is number 3. Mine was 3 and 6, actually.
6 is nice. Yeah, just drank that again.
Yeah.
Like it a lot.
It definitely not as flavor punch, but it's a subdued, but I like it. Are we gonna go
Do
with
the big reveal?
Well, not the reveal yet. Well, yes, we need to do the reveal, but
No.
are we gonna do the what you think is the traditional German? And do we know? Is it more than one? We know it. You said
We
at
don't.
least one, so
At least
okay.
one.
Okay.
Yeah. Now you gotta
I'd
put
say
your-
3, 6, and maybe
You gotta
4.
put your chips on the table now. Come on.
Do we want to guess what breweries they might be?
Oh, good luck
Oh,
with that.
man.
Good.
Let's
lu-
go.
I mean,
we got 6 mystery beers here. I mean,
if you're writing down,
I
and
have
you're
some
keeping track-
ideas. I've had a couple of Oktoberfest in my time, and I have one in particular that I look forward to every year, and I'm hoping it's
Me too.
one of these.
Let's hear it from the brewer over here.
Well, to me, my favorite Oktoberfest beer is Eyinger. It's a marvelous beer. It's produced short term. We actually had it on tap here a couple weeks ago, and when people get a hold of Eyinger, it's traditionally, at least here in the bars that I've been involved with, Eyinger is by far and away the most popular, or
That's the one
the
you
most
were
drank.
that you saw in the bathroom.
Yeah,
that's the poster.
Eyinger.
Eyinger, yeah, with the gentleman with the big stein in his hand. Yeah,
Yeah, that was that one.
Yeah, Eyinger. It's fantastic beer. The other one that I really like is Spaten. I mean, Spaten.
Is it Spaten or is it Spaten?
It's Spaten.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. There's no umlaut anywhere, but
Yeah.
you know,
Sprechen die Deutsch?
Yeah, exactly. Nine.
Ein
no,
bisschen. Ein bisschen.
no. But you know, Spaten is one that we don't typically get through our distributor. A lot of the Eyinger. It comes through a special importer as well with Jason. But to me, is my favorite bottle or draft. It's overall very, very good.
Agreed.
We did mention the Brickway. The Brickway is
They were
fantastic.
solid.
That's a great beer.
Speaking of that, Mitchell, I mean, I got a shout out to him. And
Video
him-
kind of went viral.
His video did go viral. You guys saw Mitchell opening up. Did you not see
I
this?
have not seen that. I must not.
After
have.
the show, I've got it saved on my phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mitchell is there at Brickway, and Mitchell's a longtime friend of ours. He used
Okay.
to be with NBC, and now he's with Brickway.
Gotcha.
Anyway, he goes to open up one of the kettles, and he's got the trash can in place. I mean,
Okay.
it's ready to
Mash
go.
tun.
In the mash.
And
Okay.
it just goes everywhere.
Yeah.
Is
And
it a fermenter? Was it a fermenter? Maybe I do recollect that, but I would like to see the video.
yeah,
again.
I can pull
Okay.
it right up. No
Perfect.
problem.
And like the end of it, you just feel so bad for him because you can feel the
At the end of it,
Oh,
he just like the Superman pose, just
like,
looking at it like,
well, crap.
oh man, I got to clean this up.
And the part, I've been there. I know it. I know his pain. Trust me.
Yeah.
And you're just
But they
like,
caught it all on film,
oh.
which is great. So
They said it flooded the women's bathroom.
Yeah.
And like it went
Oh, my
everywhere.
gosh.
those of you on Facebook that actually want to see this video, just go to their Facebook page,
It was the
Brickway Brewing Company.
Mash ton.
Well, yeah, it's
Okay.
one of their only videos, right?
Okay.
That,
All
It's
right.
got 166,000 views.
Oh, my.
So yeah.
Yeah, it went viral there.
the beer world's pretty small. I mean,
Yeah.
that stuff travels pretty quick. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's funny. Like you see Chris, that owns it.
Zach.
Zach. Zach. You see Zach running from the background and just like
Yeah. I mean, really nothing you can do. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like,
Yep.
nah,
And now there's a mess.
let's make more beer. I mean, that's the great thing. It's let's make more beer. I
Yep.
mean, let's get after it, and make more beer.
right.
Yeah, for
Exactly,
sure.
Yeah.
Well, I would take some guesses. I'm thinking number 3 is the German. I think it's Eyinger.
I would have to agree with that.
I would say
If it
6,
is, yeah.
in my opinion. You want me to write these down? I don't want to
can-
influence
no,
anyone else's.
You've got the paper.
I
What
do
we
have the
know?
paper. Sure.
It is recorded for posterity on
Right, there you
audio.
Can we edit that if I'm wrong?
It's gonna be funny. We could go back and be like, Marzen.
What do you What do you think?
Yeah, it doesn't match up. It's the old karate movies. Yeah. 6 is Brickway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if that's correct, I would have picked it again because 3 and 6 were my two.
Yeah, that's why I liked it. I thought,
Yeah.
it's got to be Brickway.
So my traditionals are 3 and 5, I think.
Okay.
Yep, 3 and 5 are my traditionals.
It's got something about it for sure.
Definitely the caramel notes.
I'm going the only German one is 3.
Really?
For me.
Just
Yeah.
hang, huh?
Yeah.
Do you have an idea what the
He's
other
got
ones
an
might
inside
be?
track. That's
Right.
what it is.
Like you got, I mean, so just kind of thinking out loud, but not looking at the shelves. You've got Brickway. You've got Cross Strain. I don't know if you got any Weihenstephan Fest beer in. Pollander's in there somewhere.
Shells was over there.
Shells, August Shells.
Yep.
What else?
Weihenstephaner,
Sierra Nevada?
Odell's,
Odell's.
Bell's.
Oh, Bell's, Oktoberfest, yeah.
Yeah, 1 and 2 I think are the American.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
I think Britt was safe on that call early.
All right.
Right,
Although it was a little early call, Britt.
right. It was.
It just like when I had it, I'm like, this is not from overseas. This is definitely here.
Just light. Just
Yep.
I do have a little bit left.
Flavors could be
I
better.
get a ton of hop character off of that. In a good way.
Which would be a kind of a traditional American approach to a beer.
Yeah.
So, and then if you think 6 is the Brickway, that would kind of stand with, like, the reason I liked it so much, it was so close to traditional style,
Right.
But it was an American beer.
Sure.
So yeah,
Which Zach, he studied over in Scotland. so-
absolutely does masters in brewing and distilling.
Yeah,
He knows what he's doing.
He knows his stuff. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
So are we
You want to get the
doing the reveal? If we can. Nope.
Yeah, let's find it out.
Please, thank you.
Figure this out.
Yep.
We're all wrong.
Yep.
It was number 4. Haha.
This is a toppling Goliath. What?
None of these are mine.
Oh, look at this.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, bells. So
We were right, Dave. Number
Nice.
3, we were right.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep.
We
That
weren't-
was so
Oh.
good.
Yeah.
That was so good.
Oh.
we missed the Brickway.
Oh, that was number. This
Dang.
one. Let's have
Okay,
those.
so for
There you go.
the viewing audience, so the do you want to zoom in on one of these, Britt?
Yeah. We can do.
Well, I was going to zoom in on one of the.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of cupware in the way. Okay.
So number 1 that we started with, that was Bell's, which I love their Hop Slam. That's one of my
Oh,
favorite that they do. And then number 2 was Keg Creek. Number 3 was Anger, which is wow.
Yeah.
That's wow.
That was so
Very
spot
well.
on and so
Every
good.
year. Every
Yeah.
year.
Number 4 was that was in my top running. Number 4, I didn't mention it before, but it was in my top running. That one's the Brickway.
I see why it's by the pisser. I mean, sell that.
Yeah.
That's good.
3 was Millstream, and
5 was Millstream?
5. Sorry, yeah, 5 was Millstream. 6 was Dinkel.
And 6 was good, too.
6 was great.
I
6
love
was
6.
solid.
3 and 6 were my favorites.
3 and 6, okay.
But
They were all
I
great.
would
They
say-
were all good
yeah.
in their own rights.
number 3 was the Brickway for me. So
And-
3, 6, 4 were my. Those are my top 3.
Because see now when you're looking at the breweries, right? I mean, not that it influences your opinion.
Yeah.
But if we would have said number 1's a Bell's or if we would have gave that to you right at the beginning, you would have said, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And formed instant opinions on.
Sure.
Oh, I like that brewery, or I like their marketing, or I like whatever it is about it.
Yeah. Well, and 1 and 2 were American breweries.
Right.
Bell's,
Which I
and
think
Keg-
we were
Keg-
guessing that.
Yep.
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 No.
Nice work, team.
Yeah, definitely. The Millstream, do we have that available here? No? In 6-pack?
No, so I did give Becca an assignment, a little early. I said, go over to somewhere in Iowa. I want you to get a brewery that we don't have access to.
Gotcha.
Just to throw a little wrench and everything, just for some funsies.
Yeah.
But
That was excellent.
it's got to be the Millstream, I think,
I
that
think that's
she
really
grabbed
good.
over there, because we have access to the rest
Which
of
is
these.
good.
Yeah, it was a good one. The whole that whole bottom row was excellent.
Totally agree.
Yeah. I don't know that I've drank much Dinkel, but
So what I'm hearing
Really
really
good.
is 1 and 2 are, and
Well,
3
They
was
were good. They
fantastic.
were all good.
Yeah.
They all had their own right.
of the 6.
they're just lighter, I would call it.
Yeah,
you know,
if you wanted to go with the more traditional Oktoberfest, or if you wanted to just do a lighter end of it, like I'm a Bud Light drinker. Well, okay, if you're going to want to do that, then you do that.
Sure.
To
No.
each his own.
Which I think Keg Creek is actually a fest beer.
Right. Well, is it
as opposed to an
an
Oktoberfest.
Okay.
But I know Bell's is Oktoberfest. Yeah.
And that to me, of the 6, that's the least Oktoberfest to me. Was that beer? I thought that
Bell's?
was
Yeah.
I thought that was
sure.
again for me. It was a little more on the hoppy side.
Yep.
How I got on my palate, but still good.
I'm going to use your cup, Brian. I'm going to just
There you
do
go.
this.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah. You good?
And so people can see what's going on there.
Yeah, Zach is mentioning the flight holders. Yes, we had mentioned that earlier. These are fantastic. I
They're
love
cool.
how they're stadium seating.
Yeah, right,
That's really
exactly.
that's really cool.
Exactly. So when people come in and we can we have a flight? We do 4 and we do 6, and the best way to do that is we'll give them the form here with a dry erase marker, and we'll say, when you look at the board, give me the number you want. Instead of writing the beers down on there, give us the number you want. So it's pretty easy on us. But these are great. When we serve. Speaking of sours, last week we had Sourfest here at the shop.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? How'd that go?
It was
I saw some pictures from
sick.
it. Yeah, I saw some.
Oh my
pictures.
gosh! It was Frank and myself, and then my son works in the back of the kitchen, and it was. I think it was either our busiest or our second busiest night ever.
Wow.
And we did at the end of the
fantastic.
night when I was doing the cash register. What did we do? 700 flight pours. Yeah,
Wow.
it was like oh my gosh, we could not keep up with flights.
How many hours are we talking here?
We're talking. We opened at noon, and we're closed at midnight, so 12-hour shift.
12-hour shift, 700.
And we went. I think we had 20 sours on tap, something like that. It was.
it was a
crazy.
tap
It was
takeover.
absolutely. Yeah, it was actually a bar takeover. Exactly. We had a blast though. It was an interesting night because I've been a part of a couple of the real busy nights where it's just really balls to the wall. But last week was perfect because it was just real steady all night long.
Sure.
And people were
Yeah.
coming and going. And the interesting part with sours is, people don't sit and drink 5 of them. They'll have
No,
1 or
no.
2.
Yeah,
Then they're good. They tend to give a little bit of heartburn if you have a little bit of a
Surprised
digestion
you did a
problem.
whole
Well, acidity
flight,
to
actually.
Right,
them.
exactly. Yeah, but I had a couple gentlemen who ordered all 20 of them on flights. He wanted them all.
That's
And
crazy.
I'm like, all right, that's fine.
Getting after it.
Exactly. So, but no, Sourfest was it was ridiculously fun.
And you guys will be doing it again.
Exactly. And it'll be better next year
Because
too.
it went over so well.
It went over so well. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. That was a. And speaking, we were talking a little bit about the Jester King beer.
We're talking about your Sourfest and how well it went.
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Fortunately, I missed it, but
It was.
I would have loved to check it out.
It was bananas fun. It was a good night. It was a really good night. But one of Dave and Becca tapped a Jester King beer called Spawn 3, Spawn 2,
3-year.
3.
Yep.
And poor Dave, I walk in about 5 o'clock, and poor Dave's like, "Well, there's our Jester King keg, and it's like broken. It's a plastic non-return keg, and it's broken." So they were able to get as much as they could out of it and serve what they could, but.
I would be duct taping that thing.
Right, well, I bet you Dave probably went through the roof a little bit when he saw that thing was broken. So I was
That was a
disappointed.
beer that is one of their most highly regarded, toughest to get. 2 kegs came to the state of Nebraska,
Wow.
and so when we got that thing, we were so excited that we landed that keg. It was pretty much the marquee beer for that
Sure.
That event,
Sourfest.
yeah.
And when we tapped it and it wasn't pouring, that was
Oh my.
a crazy
Fortunate.
hour ahead.
Very
But yeah,
unfortunate.
I mean, it happens.
It
You
does.
know, I don't know why places use that, especially because they're here in the States. Why wouldn't they just buy a regular keg?
Oh, the throwaway kegs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but using a plastic keg, to put one of your best beers in.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Right.
I don't get it.
Now you see some overseas brewers doing that because they don't want the
Sure,
kegs
they
back.
don't
but
wanna-
but
yeah,
you're
hassle
down
with
in Texas. You're not that far away. Yeah.
Well, and speaking of, my favorite beer, Eyinger, that's one of my beefs with them is they put it in 30-liter kegs. Trouble to brew this beer,
Right.
And it's not like it's a 12%
Right.
imperial stout. It's a light, easy drinker that we are going to sell a lot of, and they put it in 30-liter kegs and send it across,
Small kegs.
halfway around the world.
Are they steel kegs? Are they
They're
steel?
those
or they,
rubber ones.
Okay.
Yeah. But, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Put those things in, I guess they would put them in 50 liters, but not half barrels. But, that's a beer that we're going to go
Something
through
a little more
lot
strong.
of.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, just more volume. I mean, you're going to sell it. Why not put in the bigger kegs?
Yeah. Meh.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Meh.
Decisions breweries make.
Those Germans.
You know.
I don't know.
You're German, wow.
I think of Hogan's Heroes.
I know nothing. I said nothing.
Right.
Yep. All right. Are we winding down?
I think we are winding down. I think we've touched on the Oktoberfest. Touched on it. We've nailed it.
Yeah,
The head in the
exactly.
coffin there.
The clear winner was definitely the Eyinger.
I agree.
Yeah.
So
And that's something you can buy here.
Yep.
Something you have here. Not
Absolutely.
on tap, but
We'll get some more of it.
it's fantastic. Out of all of the Oktoberfest we tried tonight, I think all four of us, this was the clear winner.
I agree.
So if you're going to Oktoberfest, and actually here in Omaha, if you're here in Omaha, the German American Society, if you've never been there for their Oktoberfest, pretty awesome.
Right.
Actually, you can bring your own mug, or you can buy a mug there, or you can come down to the Casual Pint and get a mug here. So
And Dave, actually, they're going to host. We're hosting a festival
We're
as well. down
hosting
here.
the Fall Fest, yeah.
do we have a date yet?
Yeah, September 21st. And
Which is the official start of Oktoberfest this year, right?
is it?
Okay.
First day, yeah.
Pretty sure it is.
I planned that.
Yeah, right. That was meant to be. That's in the cards.
Crackle pop.
Right?
But yeah, so we just call it a Fall Fest. You know, we tap a bunch of Oktoberfest beers. We tap some regular, German stuff, Hellas and Hefs and whatever. But
Is that where you shut down the street, the parking,
we
basically?
do, yeah. We'll have some bounce houses for the kids. Timber does all the food. He'll do like house-made knockwurst, stuff like that.
I heard
he'll
you're bringing a
roast some
Ferris wheel
pigs.
in this year.
No,
No,
you heard
I'm
wrong.
I heard you wrong. I'm
Yeah.
just messing around.
Now you
That
got
must
it.
be down in your neighborhood.
Yeah, the carnival's in town, right? We're going to borrow the carnival. Yeah.
But
Tell
we have a lot
Septemberfest
of
to come
fun
over here
stuff.
from down at the.
Right.
Fun stuff, good food. It's more family oriented.
Absolutely.
Come down and hang out with us on the 21st all
Nice.
day. And we got a massive tent, and we're gonna have football on in the tent too. So you won't miss a minute, Husker fans.
Should do the like in Vegas where they have that street that's completely covered. You should just do an awning over the whole, just from one building to the
That
next.
would be killer. You want to sponsor that?
Yeah, right. Can we borrow some money from
Can I
that?
put my name on it?
We'll put Drink Talk everywhere.
There
right?
Let me know.
There you go.
I'll maybe hopefully sponsor some of the way you can get the football for you.
Okay.
If you'd like.
I like it.
We'll talk about that.
Cool.
Okay.
That'll be the after talk, right?
There you go. Right.
Done.
After dinner drink. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, again, thank you for hosting.
Yes,
It was
this
super
was
super awesome.
fantastic.
Yeah, it was great.
Glad to do it. I'm glad we
And-
did it here. This was a good time.
Much
Absolutely.
props to Becca for putting together the flights and for color coordinating it.
Right. Right.
It's worked out well.
Yeah.
did.
Great.
If it would have been a dude, it'd have just been like,
Yeah.
whatever, man.
He'd have brought them over one at a time. Yeah, here you go. Yeah.
Yep. She
No,
did
this
great.
is great, and we did have some comments on these. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
In fact, Zach just said those flight holders are top notch.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got them down here. Come down and enjoy them.
Yeah, definitely.
Aaron, thank you for joining us.
Hey,
and,
my
and
pleasure.
dropping
It's
your knowledge.
fantastic
of
to be
everything.
here, man.
Yeah,
Really loved it.
Appreciate
Definitely.
it. Yeah, thanks.
You bet.
Oh, and before we sign off,
Oh yeah, we do. We got a little something. For first-time guests on our show, we provide a takeaway gift home item.
Oh, wow.
For yourself. So,
Oh.
bada
Heck
bing, bada
yeah.
you got yourself a drink talk cup.
Oh boy. Sweet. Solving
Yep.
the world's problems one drink at a time. That's exactly how it works, man. That's
is.
exactly it.
yep.
Yep.
So
Thank
you have to be on the program to get one of
Oh,
those.
I'm honored. I appreciate that, fellas.
Yeah.
Seriously. Well, that's great. Thank
It's,
you.
we like the practicality of it. Like you can actually drink out of it. So.
Absolutely. And it's a full pour right there, baby.
it.
There's
It
no
is,
halvesies right there.
That's right. Yep.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate
Cool.
that.
Well, yeah, we've been drinking on the Oktoberfest beer. We've been dropping some knowledge on what it means to be Oktoberfest and the festival itself. We didn't get like too
We
specific
touched
in
on
it.
like
Right.
all beers.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we went.
I agree.
We ran the gamut of all
We
beers.
had drink talk.
Yeah, we did.
We had
Exactly.
drink talk, yeah.
We did. There's some reels that we went off on the
Yeah.
little tangents there.
the way this
we never do
show
that.
goes.
That never happens.
Never,
Right.
it never ever happens. So I want to thank all of you that were joining us online.
Yeah, thanks for
live,
the questions.
so
Thanks
appreciate
for
it.
all the shout outs and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check on. For some reason, my iPad is not letting me see the comment section, so I had to switch over to my phone. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, appreciate all the questions and the comments and all that. And we'll over the next 24 hours, Britt and I will take a look at those and respond to all those. So
Yeah.
What do you say we do it again a year from now?
hey,
Sounds
Let's do it sooner.
Great.
Let's do it sooner.
save the date.
They just don't make the beers all the time, you know.
No, but we don't have to do just Oktoberfest.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
no, look at,
True.
I mean, we're talking Imperial Stouts next, right?
No,
I mean,
what-
we're talking big beers.
So we were talking about it earlier. I would like to do porch sitters. The lemonade slammers, the Stiegels, the stuff like that. I'd like to do something lighter, which would be fun. Which would be a beginning of the summer kind
yeah,
of
that'd
thing.
be early winter, early summer.
Yeah.
I'm going to one up you, Dave. But in a year from now, why don't we do this from Germany?
Oh.
You know what? I'll call my
Challenge-
buddy over there. We can do it from his
accepted.
brewery. We can handle it. He's got a hotel and a restaurant, so we can do it right there.
Perfect.
That would be
That
fantastic.
would be awesome.
Yeah, get your little passport in
I
order.
was going to say,
and-
flights are cheap now if you book it a year in advance, so we can make that happen.
We'll start saving.
Exactly. Well, thank you all for joining us. My name's Brian,
I'm Britt.
I'm Dave.
And I am Aaron.
and we've been at Casual Pint, Countryside Village, 87th and Pacific. Come down and check it out. It's a pretty cool place.
Absolutely.